You are listening to the Primetime Podcast with your hosts, Bryant Chisel and Jake Jorgensen. Hello, everybody. Welcome into another Rewind. We are wrapping up week 3, getting week 4 started here. We have myself, per usual, Jake, and a very special guest today. We have Nick B. How's it going, buddy?
Good, great to be here. Pumped to talk after I finally get a win.
Yeah, we are. We're excited for that. You know, there aren't. Prior to this week, there really weren't that many guests that were, eligible to be on the show with Brandon and Preston, and so it's very good to have another option. You know, the 3-time champ has to be able to at least not finish last place. All right. Pretty solid show. We got some. I mean, it's the same schedule. Let's be honest. We're gonna check out the matchups. Lot of low-scoring games this week. A lot of sub 100. I think half the league sub 100, and the other half almost exclusively 140 plus. So, way to be the outlier there, Nick.
Thank you. I'll take right smack dab in the middle.
Heck yeah. I think we're gonna start with Cade and George, because holy man, is that a blowout? Almost 60 points if my math is right. Yeah. So, all right, we have Cade trouncing George for almost 150. George put up a very respectable 91.5 if you consider the week. Rashid Shaheed goosed. That is tough. Ramondre Stevenson might as well have goosed. 23 yards and a fumble. That's not very fun. It's only 6 carries. They got destroyed by the Jets. I don't know. I didn't catch that game, so I don't know if he just got game scripted out or if somebody else was touching the ball there. But tough.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots line couldn't block anyone. That was the main thing.
Yeah, I guess that's a concern you run into with Ramondre. He's kind of a volume play, and if he falls in the end zone, you're not disappointed.
Yep.
So Jefferson and Lamar were pretty solid. You know, Sam Darnold, the GE Cubis, still absolutely slaying it. That must feel amazing, Nick, as a Vikings fan. That must just be awesome.
It's the best. Me and Jake were at the game this weekend, and it was electric.
Oh, you were both there. Okay, yeah I knew Jake was there. Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson looked unstoppable out there. Actually, he had 2 drops at the end of the game, but the game was over at that point. Like, Donald found him whatever he wanted to. So, yeah, Jefferson looked insane out there.
Nice. It was honestly like the first time I've ever seen him mess up in an NFL game, I feel like.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well,
the game was over in the first half.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So. Well, that's just like the Bills game, right? It's 34-7. Bills was 47-10, and I mean, Josh Allen had 40 points. He could do whatever he wanted, and pretty much everybody else in the Bills was kind of getting shut down. Josh Allen probably could have had like 7 touchdowns in that game if they would have wanted him to. Crazy stuff. So, I guess on Georgia's bench, I mean, Roma Dunze had a big game. Caleb Williams put up numbers. If you look at the box score, it looks like a good game, but he kind of played terribly and got those 2 touchdowns at the end. Put up over 300 yards. So, Brock Purdy on the bench, 30 points. Not that you really care if you're George. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Rome could maybe slot in. He just needs A.J. Brown back so badly.
Yeah.
And then Dallas Goedert, 31 points. Holy man. I mean, you're never going to start him over McBride, right?
No, never. I benched him in 2 leagues, and I was kicking myself for it. But
yeah,
you can never start him over McBride.
I mean, what can you really do, right? Because 7 points and 7 points in the first 2 weeks. You know what? As far as the tight end landscape is going this year, maybe that's
that wasn't too shabby. Yeah,
I think he might be the tight end 1 on the year now with that performance. So kudos to Dallas Goedert. I guess because Devonta Smith didn't play in that game, right? Or did he get hurt during it?
He got hurt during it.
Yeah, he got hurt during it. A.J. Brown obviously missed. I mean, he's kind of the only guy to catch a ball there after that happens.
Yeah.
So for as long as A.J. Brown is out, Dallas Goedert's super startable. Granted, not really if you're George, because Trey McBride is, should be that guy.
Right.
I don't know.
I'll give George some hope on T. Higgins. If any of you guys caught the Monday night game, he only scored 7 here, but he was getting targets, and him and Joe Burrow were a little off, especially late in the game. He had one on the sideline that I think would have gone for about 30 yards, and he had a touchdown that was a little bit overthrown by Burrow, and a 2-point conversion that was a one-handed opportunity that he couldn't pull in. But I think he'll be fine with T. Higgins here. I don't think you got to be too concerned. It was his first week back.
Yep.
So
yeah, I totally agree.
it might freak out George though, seeing that 7 points.
That's true. That is true.
Probably will.
I should text him. All right, we have Cade. I mean, Saquon did take the wheel. 38.6. Holy man, dude. For putting up 15 points for Philadelphia, that is a crazy stat line.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thank God Philly signed Barkley in the offseason, or their offense would be terrible.
Yeah, could you imagine if they stole DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy man. And Zach Charbonnet had another big week with Kenneth Walker out again. Everybody else was just solid. I guess Nico Collins you're a little disappointed in, but that's kind of who he is. If he gets a touchdown, you're living life. So, yeah, and then Josh Allen Monday night cooking.
You're probably real disappointed if you're Jason Kelce and you didn't get to have Saquon Barkley on your team, honestly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Kidding. Yeah, no. Oh, jeez. On Cade's bench, Amari Cooper finally had his game. He was getting targets all year long, but hasn't been able to turn them into catches, so he finally linked up for a couple tuds. Kirk, Singletary, good. Xavier Worthy, good for 5 points. Cam Akers was probably disappointing. I'm sure a lot of people started him in different leagues. He had 10 points this week, but he was supposed to be the guy, so they just got destroyed by Minnesota. Minnesota's defense, turns out, is very legit. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little afraid of next week, Green Bay versus Minnesota. We'll see. It's in Lambeau. That's gonna be a very fun game to watch. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I think Love's supposed to play. Hopefully,
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a good thing. In all honesty, Malik Willis has looked great, and if Love can't move around, that blitz might get to him.
It's a good thing.
I don't know, Jake. I don't know.
It's a good thing. We can't be doing this already. We can't be doing this. I just watched the Vikings defense with my 2 eyes. I want Jordan Love back ASAP. Malik looks good. That's a fact, but can't mess around in these divisional games. You can't mess around with them.
Me and Jorge were talking on Sunday about how there's a quarterback controversy brewing in Green Bay.
There could be, Hey, if Jordan Love comes out and we lose against the Vikings, he's going to be 0-2. Malik's going to be 2-0. So
it's going to be very easy. Just be mentally prepared for the fact that if Jordan Love does anything wrong, actually, if he plays just a good game, it's going to be a quarterback controversy because of how well Malik did. So, yeah.
Kind of true.
We'll see.
I don't know about next week, but if he comes out and we lose against the Vikings and then we lose whoever we play in week 5, then you're probably not wrong.
Yeah, I think there's even a scenario where even if we did beat the Vikings and he throws for 220 yards and doesn't run for much, they're like, well, Malik Willis had better stat line. Okay.
Maybe. I don't know, Jay. I don't know. All right.
I want Jordan Love back. I'm not kidding. Thank you, Malik Willis. Appreciate it.
True.
Very cool.
All right. We have, I think that wraps up this matchup. I don't really care anymore. Let's head to, I guess, my matchup with Lemons. This was almost as bad of a blowout. Not quite. Lemons, Patrick Mahomes is, oh man. Who does he have on his bench? Joe Burrow. Are you starting Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes next week against Carolina? Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, Mahomes has
Chargers.
The Chargers, right?
Yeah. Division game. Is that you?
I would trade Burrow before I bench Mahomes.
I would trade Mahomes, but nobody wants him. Who wants him though? That's the problem.
Yeah, this is probably not the best time.
It's the Mark Andrews syndrome on my team. What am I supposed to do? Nobody wants Mark Andrews. He stinks. He ran like 7 routes in the entire game.
Yeah, he was only in like 20% of the team snaps.
It was crazy. I don't know what they're doing. He's basically an offensive tackle. I'm starting a tackle at tight end, and I don't know what to do because I can't bench him, and I can't cut him, and I can't trade him.
And it's not like, I mean, Likely had a big week 1, but the last 2 games he
Yeah.
had like 1 catch each week.
I
Too.
think he has like 6 targets between the last 2 games, so it's not like Likely's.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That is puzzling. I've started Likely in a couple weeks now, and I have no idea how that happened.
Lamar hates the tight ends, confirmed.
He used to love them. Now it's his thing.
Yeah. Now that Zay Flowers
got
exists,
Zay.
he's like,
Yeah,
all right, cool.
right.
I guess when he's like really trying to win, he's just peppering the tight ends for safety, and then he only locks in for the Chiefs apparently.
Well, he runs when he needs a safety outlet. Otherwise, he just chucks it to Zay.
That's true.
Tyreek Hill, I'm worried about with Skylar Thompson, but you're starting him, so that kind of sucks for them. He's got Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. You're starting every week, but you're probably unhappy about it.
Yeah.
Pretty unfortunate.
Lemons is in a rough spot right now.
Yeah, Mr. Fourth Place. I don't know about that one. DK Metcalf had a good game. He had a big long touchdown. Bijan disappointing. Rashad White's going to lose his job to Bucky Irving. So 5 catches that saved his day, but he had 17 rush yards on 6 carries, 17 yards. Like, all right, this guy stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, Zeke Elliott's also going to lose his job to Rico Dowdle. He got out-touched.
Yep.
Like, okay. Adam Thielen's in the IR. Honestly, Lemons can probably cut him.
Yep.
Unless you want to stash him on your IR instead of Elijah Mitchell, I guess, because you can cut him too. Oh man, this is a rough look. And he's got George Kittle. Maybe he'll be back. Austin Eckler looks like a great kick and punt returner, but I don't know if he's really going to be that effective unless he falls in the end zone like he did this week. And yeah, yikes, man, yikes. I don't know. My side of the ball, Dak's a stud. Olave finally had his game. Mike Evans, I think that's 2 weeks in a row of pain. But, I mean, it's Mike Evans, so it is what it is. Kyren Williams is a dog. I can't believe the Rams came back and that won.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I know, that was insane.
Oh, man. I think Kamara's dealing with some injuries. He's questionable. DNP, he'll probably be fine. Marvin Harrison caught a touchdown. Didn't really do much else, but I'll take it. And the Jets defense, oh, baby. Yeah. Oh, and Jaden Daniels is a monster, it turns out. Monday Night Football, he's basically...
He was, yeah.
He's what Patrick Mahomes wishes he could be. He's like Deshaun Jackson, please. Lamar Jackson, if he could throw a football.
I thought you would say Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh, I mean, hey. Deshaun Kaiser was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
So, Khalil Shakir seems like the wide receiver to own in Buffalo, at least for the time being. He's the most involved. Yep. It's good for PPR. And Chuba Hubbard, I picked him up, and I guess he's a stud. It sounds like that Brooks guy is going to be back. Not this week, 'cause he's not eligible, but I think Jonathan Brooks, they're talking about him back as soon as he can. So we'll see how long the Chuba train lasts. But for now, I mean,
and that could be he could be good depending on if they stick with Andy Dalton for a while. Here,
absolutely. If that offense keeps cooking, man, Andy Dalton's a stud. I should remake that button again, Jake. Andy Dalton is an elite quarterback. F&A, baby. He's a stud. It's crazy how that team can go from you wondering how they could possibly ever get a win this year to the very next week switching their quarterback. Awesome.
Promoted to the UFL.
Jeez. I think that just proves that Bryce Young is not good, at least not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to trade him to Minnesota.
I think we're okay.
Then they'll start throwing 3 touchdowns.
Maybe.
The Sam Darnold
Maybe Miami will have some interest.
Oh, boy. Only if they bring back Adam Gase. Jeez. All right, we can move on from this one, too. Big win for me, 2-1. Lemons 1-2 feels generous with your team right now. Sorry, dude. All right, let's go you and Preston, Nick. This is a pretty good one, too. Right. Wow, a lot of blowouts. Got Kyler. Oh, jeez, I hit the back button. There we go. We got Kyler, Drake London, Moore. I mean, everybody was just kind of solid, and it turns out Malik Neighbors is a stud.
Yeah, He's on. I think he's on pace for like 230 targets right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, he might not have a great quarterback, but his quarterback is doing what bad quarterbacks should do on bad offenses: hyper target your best player. And did you guys see his touchdown catches? They were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's Spider-Man. It's crazy. You know, you see Malik Neighbors drop 28.2, and you're like, wow, this is an elite wide receiver. And you see Marvin Harrison, and you're like, wow, he's pretty good. But like, there are a couple plays when you watch Marvin Harrison where you're like, Malik would have caught that. Kind of crazy. He seems like he could be a big boy keeper next year because you drafted him in the
he will be.
4th round.
Yep, in the 4th. Yep.
Yeah, that'll be big.
You can pretty much already lock that one in if you want.
Pretty much. Barring like an ACL injury or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Manti aside, CJ Stroud stunk it up against Minnesota. Turns out starting your quarterback against them might be a bad idea, at least in Minnesota for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a heck of an offensive line. Ayuk was disappointing. Ayuk, man, he's the only wide receiver there, right? And then he gets beat out by Juwan Jennings, who catches like 3 touchdowns. What are we doing? All those wide receivers that held out offseason seem to really be struggling. Chase had a good week this week, but prior to this week, Chase, Ayuk, CD, I mean, all those guys have been fine, but not it. I don't know. JT was a stud, though. 2 touchdowns. That's just what he is, man.
Yeah.
What a monster. Josh Jacobs, 6 points. Honestly, Emmanuel Wilson was really involved in this game. And I know big downtick in usage. I would be worried about Josh Jacobs against Minnesota for sure. And potentially just going forward, it might not be 20 points per week. You know, he's going to be fine, obviously. It's Josh Jacobs. But if Emmanuel Wilson stays this involved, and if when Marshawn Lloyd comes back, it's a big committee like that, because we know LaFleur likes to run that committee. And if that continues, it's going to lower his floor quite a bit. He could put up these 6-point weeks, which is a little scary. I don't know. We'll see.
It's definitely a little scary. I have Jacobs in another league, and I've been trying to see if I can get anything for him in a trade, but not a ton of bites so far.
You're in a good area to do that. You know, a lot of Packer fans. So when I'm making trades with people sometimes, and I know they're big Packer fans, I'll just chuck in like a Dontavian Wicks type of player and just be like, hey, maybe they like Dontavian Wicks, and I can get a steal.
I've tried that in the Dynasty League. Throw a Bo Melton, toss a Bo Melton in there.
Okay, Bo Melton's a little too low, Jake. The dude barely plays.
He's a fan favorite. He's a fan favorite. Don't disrespect Bo Melton.
I do love Bo Melton. I'll give you that. Sam Laporta, disappointing. I think he got banged up in that game, and I don't know. I mean,
he did.
Tight ends are tight ends this year. Pretty much no matter who you have, unless it's Dallas Goedert, they're putting up a stinker. Jalen Waddle had 6.6. The nice thing about owning Jalen Waddle right now, I think, is that you can bench him. You can't bench Tyreek Hill. I'd almost rather have Waddle. It's kind of crazy. You can't bench Tyreek Hill, and he's probably going to do the same output as Waddle. Totally bench Waddle and stick in Zach Moss, who you should have put in, Preston. What are we doing? You're going to start Jalen Waddle with Skylar Thompson in your flex. Zach Moss is playing against the worst defense in the NFL. Essentially. Jeez, dude. This one's on Preston.
He'll get to throw Terry McLaurin in there potentially now.
Yeah, he probably
after
could.
That game.
You're not wrong. And Jacoby Myers.
I don't blame him for not starting McLaurin the first couple weeks. So
I agree.
This was the week
with
Jacoby. Terry.
Jacoby was pretty rough those first couple weeks too. And I know they're playing Carolina, so you can do whatever you want. Yeah, Zach Moss. Come on, dude. You're losing the game anyways, I guess. So. I don't know. Kyle Pitts, big game. 2 catches, 59 yards. You know, he's putting up fantasy points. Say what you will. Yeah, I mean, this is a big win. Go ahead, Jake.
I have to do it because we have somebody on. It's on Nick's bench right now. What are we doing with Anthony Richardson here?
You shut your filthy mouth.
And you could have been right because Mahomes has been so ass. but that take, I need an update on that take. I need a status update.
Yeah, what did I say? That I'd rather have him over Mahomes end of year?
And half of that take is right so far.
Hey, you know what? He has okay, so I'm totally benching Anthony Richardson against Pittsburgh, right? Like 100%. There's no shot I'm playing against Pittsburgh. But against Jacksonville, I think not that Nick's gonna play him because he has Kyler, and Kyler's been pretty darn solid. Especially because he'll have 3 dud games in a row. I think Anthony Richardson will totally be startable in Week 5. Anytime he plays a defense where Indianapolis can actually do something, he's going to be awesome. But
yeah, I haven't started him for the last time for sure.
Oh yeah, Anthony Richardson will be back, Jake. And you know what? Patrick Mahomes stinks. It turns out he's a stud. But for fantasy, honestly, he's a streamer. You play him in good matchups, and if you have balls of steel, you can bench him. But you need another guy, and I don't know if Lemons really has that guy.
I'm only slightly sad because I drafted Anthony Richardson in my work league after Bryant was absolutely hyping this guy up.
Hey, Week 1, I was victory lapping so hard, too.
You were. Yeah, you were.
32 points. But, hey, like I said, the right matchup.
A lot of time left.
You can do it, baby. That rushing upside's keeping him afloat because, holy man, is he a terrible quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey will be back. Maybe. I heard he was going to Germany.
Yeah, he went to Germany, so I don't have high hopes for him coming back.
I'm guessing like somewhere in the Week 7 to 9 range. But even
I'd be stoked if he came back.
Yeah, for the offs, maybe. If you get there. Bucky Irving's a nice hold. 9 carries, 70 yards. They were talking him up. Coach was.
Yep, he's gonna get a lot. I think he said a lot more work this week is what he said.
I believe that is correct. Personally, I do love myself some BTJ. I know he hasn't been fantastic, but he's been darn solid, and I love him. I was trying to trade for him in Dynasty today, and I wanted Drake London. I said, buddy. But darn
Nick,
it,
did you draft Jordan Mason, or did you grab him?
I drafted him.
Good stuff.
I drafted him.
Yeah, that's big.
I figured we were going to be in this position.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Yahoo says added from waivers.
Oh, really?
Probably like the day of the draft.
Probably.
8/27.
I must have done it the day of the
That's
draft.
before Week 1, right? 8/27.
Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you effectively drafted him, but you can't keep him. You'll take that L. Not that it really matters. I mean,
I don't think
next year. So,
gotcha.
Anywho, pretty good dub. Is Adonai Mitchell going to get dropped?
Yeah, Haley will be getting dropped at some point here.
Tough. You just got to find the right guy.
Yep.
That's what I like to hear. I heard George found the right guy this week. We'll talk about that in the waiver show. All right. Pretty good win for you, Nick. Got to get one on the board. And man, do I love that Brandon and Preston are both 0-3. This is excellent content. All right. We have the next biggest blowout. Wow, Jake, you know what? I want to boo you. Scored 95 points and you won. You're 3-0.
My favorite. Yeah, so I scored 95, and that's an ugly number to win with. I'm looking at it. My projection was 106. So this is like percentage-wise actually not that underperforming.
An excellent managerial performance.
This was probably the best 95-point game I've ever had.
Hey, Jake Ferguson. He's in your start.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson, he will be now, yeah. So basically, there's a lot of quarterback stuff I had to figure out, and I didn't look this up yet. I forgot how much Rodgers scored on Thursday, but I dropped Rodgers for Derek Carr because he was lighting it up the first couple weeks. I think I spent 20 fab on Derek Carr, so that was unfortunate that he struggled so much against the Eagles. But at the end of the day, you talked about CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb was kind of mid lately too, but he'll probably pick it up at some point.
Yeah, he'll link up with Dak. I mean, the problem with having CD and Ferguson, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Dallas is a pretty good offense, so it's okay to have pieces. One of them is going to dominate in targets, and you would really think it's CeeDee Lamb, but apparently this week it was Ferguson. He had 11 targets.
Yeah.
Oh, and your boy, Jake.
Yeah, I knew you were going to call that out since I was doing that about Richardson. I'm gonna just say that this is because I didn't get to watch the Detroit game. So whenever I watch, Jameson just pops off. So I'm just gonna
You gotta start
acknowledge that
watching.
right away. I still love Jameson.
-7
That's
rushing
a tough
yards.
league.
Wow.
We got the dub. All right. But anyway, I feel good about drafting David Montgomery everywhere I could this year. He's been playing awesome. Absolutely carrying my team for my first. He was my first pick of the draft,
which is huge because Gibbs is also playing pretty well too. It's not like Montgomery is just dominating that backfield. I mean, he's dominating the touches, but Gibbs has been totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't even
like first round pick though.
No, I agree. Yeah, you're disappointed if you draft him in the first round, but at the same time, at least he's putting up points.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Najee's
this was my first pick in like the 7th round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Najee's been all right. It's kind of what I expected about here, but luckily I didn't have to draft him in the 4th round like the last 2 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, anywhere close to 5 catches in static.
Stefon Diggs ended the day with about 20. He was the only guy that CJ could find, and that Texans offense looks pretty bad out there. I was hoping he was going to get a touchdown late in the game. I was surprised. I really thought I was going to at least see a couple attempts at some bombs from CJ to like Nico, but no, the Vikings defensive line was just nasty out there.
Yeah, you're going to get games like that for Diggs.
Brandon Aubrey continuing to carry my team. Actually, he's the guy that's carrying my team.
Didn't he kick like a 60-something yarder last week? It was a really long one.
I don't have the stat on that. I'm
65.
Not sure, but I
there
think
you go.
65.
Thankfully, Yahoo had
we need to. Yahoo needs to make 60-yard field goals 6 points or 7 points. Need it.
I don't even think they have an option for that. I'll have to look next time.
I don't think they do.
I'll look for 60 plus, and maybe we'll make a vote.
It's just wild.
I'll make
it
worth 10 points just for you, Jake.
When kickers are hitting 65 yarders now, and it's 50 plus.
Yeah, bonkers. So, I don't know. I mean, your bench wasn't really anything to write home about other than Ferguson being a stud and Jayden Reed being usable. It's got to be nice to have Jordan Love back, probably, this upcoming week. Jayden Reed might be in your lineup, huh?
Oh, he'll be in my lineup, yeah. It says he's questionable here. I don't have the latest.
Yeah, okay,
sure pair of injury. Calf quadriceps. Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, he'll be back for sure. Jayden Reed's looked awesome so far this year.
Absolutely.
So it's nice that, yes, he'll be back. And yes, Jake Ferguson will also be back. Sorry, Isaiah Likely, but the last 2 weeks have not sufficed.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Brandon's side of the ball. Well, Jake, do you want to talk about what you did today?
Oh, yeah. So in my Madden League, we realized that a former NFL player was streaming on Kick, and everyone started hopping in there to ask questions or talk to him. And it was, of course, Antonio Brown. So we had to communicate with him, and I asked him about how he felt about Brandon's team. You know, going into the year, one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league, off to an 0-3 start. I think I phrased it. My buddy Brandon's 0-3 in fantasy after having a really great draft. Is he some shit? Is he the cracker of the day? and this was his response. I think we have a button here.
Oh yeah, I do.
You can press it. I'm out there. There we go. So from Antonio Brown.
He says, "Hey, Brandon,
officially trash at fantasy.
You're trash at fantasy." I mean, that's pretty cut and dry, dude. If Antonio Brown's telling you you're trash at fantasy, you might as this is.
The biggest thing to remember is we're dead.
You're dead, Shiz. You're dead.
Yeah, and he might be dead. Yeah.
I don't.
A really poor performance from Brandon's team.
I honestly don't understand it. His team was so good. Jalen Hurts, stinker. Garrett Wilson was his best player. Zay Flowers, stinker. Achane, stinker. I'd be a little worried about him in that offense now.
Yep.
James Conner, stinker. Kelsey, stinkers all year. Bijan, kind of a stinker, I guess. Even McLaughlin couldn't get it done. 1 point. Ford, not good. Tank Dell, average at best. Ridley, stinker. Deontay's a stud. Maybe he gets in. As long as Andy Dalton's the quarterback, you might be able to start Deontay. Yeah. He's the only bright light on this roster. This is some dark shit, man. Jerry Jeudy, totally fine, I guess, for where you drafted him, probably. Samaje Perine, well, Kareem Hunt's playing, so he's probably unstartable. You need Cooper Kupp back so badly. Holy man. Yeah. It's everybody's underachieving. I want to thank Brandon personally for having so many draft picks in the mid to early rounds where he could just take away all these shit players from everybody else. I could have drafted so many of these guys. Shiz, I just want to thank you, truly, for allowing me the opportunity to be 2-1, because I was totally going to draft guys like Devon Achane, kept him, Jerome Ford, Tank Dell. These were guys I was drafting. Calvin Ridley, oh yeah, love them.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out to Brandon, man.
Big shout out.
Us this year.
It's for the boys.
Thanks, Brandon. I wasn't actually able to draft any of these guys. Probably didn't have any picks by the time that you guys were there. But
and who's 3-0, Jake? Who's 3-0?
I'm 3-0.
Yes, sir, baby.
Collecting dubs.
Let's go.
Collecting wins.
Brandon Aubrey is carrying your ass, dude. He might.
You know what? Brandon,
it's crazy.
Antonio Brown didn't name you the cracker of the day, but I'd like to give you the first cracker of the day from this Primetime Podcast.
Oh.
First cracker of the day goes to Brandon.
Big. Do I have a round of applause? Oh, I took that button away. Sorry, Brandon. All I have is this for him. Bummer.
It works.
Is Brandon Aubrey outscoring Patrick Mahomes this year? I genuinely.
I don't think so, but that would be a wild stat. I did see. I wish I had the stat, but there was somebody had figured out that.
Yep.
Let's say he was the wide receiver. They were he's a wide receiver 4, tight end 1, something like that. They had that.
It's close.
I saw that too. Yeah.
It is close. Mahomes has 50 or so on the year, 51, 52. Aubrey has 47. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. Way closer than it should be.
And also, I'll just say to my bench, I'm not saying I want anything to happen to Breece Hall, but Braylon Allen is going to be insane. If
he looks good, man. He looks really good.
Shout out Braylon Allen.
Yeah, big shout out Braylon Allen, Wisconsin guy. Let's go.
A lot of touches too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a stud. 11 carries, 55 yards, 3 catches. Let's go. Baby boy Braylon out of Fond du Lac. Nice. All right, last matchup. Lane versus Greg, the matchup of the week. Honestly, a pretty good game. I'm going to break this down for everybody because I found this one to be pretty entertaining, in all honesty. With the double Monday night games going on. So going into Monday night, Lane was up about 11 points. He had James Cook and Evan McPherson, and Greg had Jamar Chase. So you gotta be feeling pretty good if you're Lane, but also you always sweat a little bit when you're going up against Jamar Chase. Mm-hmm. And especially when on the very first drive for Cincinnati, Chase scored a 41-yard touchdown. You're like, oh boy. He had been sweating. And then, Chase was pretty quiet for the rest of the first half. He had a couple decent catches, probably got about 40 more yards, and McPherson missed a 40-something yard field goal. So, Lane's probably not feeling the best. But then McPherson finished out the half with a couple short field goals. Chase was pretty quiet in the third. And at the same time, Buffalo is absolutely dominating the Jaguars, which really hurts Lane's soul because not only is it his team, right, the Jaguars, but it also means that James Cook is basically phased out from the second half of the game. And Ray Davis and Ty Johnson basically took over the backfield. So James Cook isn't scoring any points in the second half for the most part. And Lane really needs him because Jamar Chase has a whole second half to go. He's pretty quiet in the third quarter, but it does go into the fourth quarter. Cincinnati was down, I think, 11, and Chase bagged a 31-yard touchdown with 10 minutes left to make it a pretty respectable game. And not only that, but the Bengals went for 2 because they would have been down 4, and so they wanted to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game, and they didn't get that, so no extra point for McPherson. And then Cincinnati gets it back with 2 minutes left after Washington pretty much put the game out of reach, right? They scored a touchdown. But Cincinnati's still going to chuck it. So thankfully for Lane, Chase, I don't even think got a single target in that 2-minute drill. And Cincinnati came down and Moss punched in a 1-yard touchdown. So if I was Lane, holy man, I'd be sweating.
Shout out T. Higgins for also not getting a catch in that final 2-minute drill because in the Dynasty League, me and Thad literally tied to the decimal point. Because
that was crazy. I've never seen that
before.
Ever.
And by the way, Nick, Thad had Terry McLaurin, so that big touchdown ended up tying the game.
Wow.
I didn't in my head. I didn't even do the math because I thought won the game already.
The craziest part
That
about
huge
that to
touchdown.
me, Jake, the craziest part, and the reason you rarely see ties in decimal scoring fantasy football is because quarterback scoring is, generally speaking, 1 point for 25 yards, which means every yard is .04. And they're the only position in fantasy that can get that, second, the 100th place, they can modify it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to tie, your quarterbacks have to be, kind of on the same wavelength between yours and your opponents. They have to have like the same offset of 5 together.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about your matchup that really confused me in that Dynasty League was the fact that your quarterback had, I think, a multiple of 5, right? So they ended in like 0.0. And the quarterback you went up against, was it Patrick Mahomes? You went up against a quarterback that didn't have a multiple of 5. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. They had like 0.04 or 0.08 or something, right? Well, they had, was it Stephon Diggs, who threw a pass for like 14 or 16 yards or something to line it up, to let your yardage is lined up, and then you tied. Yes. I was like, holy man, that's crazy. So I had a kick out of that. That was a very interesting matchup. I've never seen decimal scoring tie before, so that was cool. Not related to this league at all, but
yeah. And then I don't remember if I said this already, but on that last possession, T. Higgins. I did see this. I was talking about T. Higgins. He had It went his way 3 or 4 times on that final drive, and couldn't get one catch. So it was a wild one. I was in the back of my head, kind of hoping for a tie though. Like I wanted to win, obviously, but it's such a rare occurrence that it was pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah,
if
and
I
you get
hadn't
a tie.
won a game yet, then I would have been a little more sad.
I honestly didn't know what the rule was. I didn't know what the rule was because I figured maybe there's a tiebreaker, and there was not. You just get a tie. So I'm like, oh, well, that's not a bad solution.
I think it's possible sometimes that you could go against the league. Wait, no, that's not what I'm thinking of, actually. I saw someone else post something online that someone got a tie to the decimal point, and their tiebreaker is the league median, and it was also on the league median. Oh. That's crazy.
Wow.
That would be wild.
That is wild. Dang. Okay.
Those are just fun stats.
Yeah, very fun stats. As far as this matchup goes, if you're Greg, you've got to be pretty gutted because I see Baker Mayfield in his starting lineup and I see Kirk Cousins in his bench. And benching Kirk Cousins turns out was the right call. However, it was also not the right call because he outscored Baker and would have won him that game. Turns out Baker gets sacked 7 times against the Broncos, and that's just kind of all she wrote. Bummer. Rashee Rice and Jamar Chase were on one. Gibbs was totally fine. Aaron Jones is on one. Brock Bowers is like probably the tight end to own, in all honesty. He's been so consistent. Even Quentin Johnston.
Wow. Baker was the guy that Greg outbid me on last week and benched him just so I couldn't start him because I was panicking for a quarterback. So it's wild.
That must feel good for you then, Jake, huh?
Yes. And then Derek Carr got 9.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Did Greg really keep DeAndre Swift? What round did he do that in?
That doesn't sound right, does it?
Yeah, I mean, he has the keeper next to him. Yeah, 9th round.
Really?
I mean, in all honesty, Swift had a pretty good year last year, and he's the guy in Chicago. So I see where there could be optimism. What's that?
He was the guy in Chicago.
Yeah, was the guy in Chicago. Yeah.
They're saying Roschon Johnson's going to get a bunch of work this week.
That's what I'm hearing too. So, R.I.P. DeAndre Swift. I think he honestly might be droppable at this point. You probably don't cut him
100%,
but you could if you had somebody on the waiver wire. Zamir White too. He's in the same boat. Greg's running backs are, his starters are fine, but the bench, Justice Hill's the next guy up, and the other 2 guys are kind of unstartable.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the last week to try to get Brock Bowers, by the way.
I think that ship sailed after week 2, in all honesty. I don't think Greg would trade Brock. Maybe he would. He's been so good, though. You're right. I mean, it was a down week, I guess, but
last chance.
Who are you going to replace his tight end with, though? You know what I mean? Like, literally nobody has been doing
true.
It's crazy. Maybe someone like Dalton Kincaid who had a good week. Hey, maybe it's what's his face? Mike Gesicki.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on Greg's side of the ball, he had some booms, but he also had some busts on pause. Whoa. Oh, I got a new pause button. Shout out Pitbull.
Okay.
So there you go. Lane, on the other hand, I mean, well, Greg Dulcich goosed, but other than that, I mean, everybody was just generally solid. Derrick Henry boomed, and nobody else really popped off. DeAndre Hopkins, I guess, for what you expect of him, he had a pretty good game. Lane, which is huge for Lane because his bench is awful. They're all injured. Poor dude. Trevor Lawrence. That is okay. This is for T-Law. You can cut him, Lane, and I guarantee you nobody will pick him up. You can. The best case scenario for Lane is if Trevor Lawrence somehow is out for the season, so he can put him on his IR and it won't cost Lane anything. Because holy man, does it hurt your team to roster that dude?
Mm-hmm.
Tough. Poor guy. Sorry, Lane. Bring back Gardner Minshew. Pittsburgh defense is good though. Hey, there's a bright spot. Yeah. All right. That's kind of all I got for this matchup. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. All right. We have the checking on the standings. Hop over to the league tab here. Cade and Jake somehow against all odds with that 363 points for. Jake is tied for first place. Then we have Laner, myself, George at 2-1. Pretty similar points for all things considered. And then we have Nick, Greg, Lemons at 1 and 2, and Brandon and Anti at Brandon's team should get some wins this year. Manthai's team, 286 points for. Dude, are you kidding me? That's like way under 100 average per week. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's not very good.
That's rough. If you're averaging sub 100 points in a full PPR league, your team is horrible. What is happening?
I thought Manthai's team was a top 3 team going into this season.
His team is so good, too.
Bad take.
He's got good running backs.
I know he has Puka injured, I believe. Yeah, he has Puka.
Yeah, he does. And Mixon's out, too, I guess.
Oh, yeah, Mixon.
Still, damn. I mean, I guess Stroud just hasn't been it this year. Maybe that's part of the reason. He should be okay against Jacksonville. I would start him. Yeah. Stafford's horrible, too. Yeah, I don't know. Rough for Preston. Absolutely rough. That's the standings. Best players of the week, we had Josh Allen for Cade, 38.92. Saquon for Cade, 38.6. Pattern there. Juwan Jennings was a free agent, 50.5. Holy man. Dallas Goedert, 22 points for George on his bench. Will Lutz, 16 free agent, and the Packers defense, 22 free agent. So, as for transactions, let's take a quick peek. We're actually doing the show on a Wednesday this time, so we can actually see what's going on. All right, let's see. Waivers ran. We have, all right, Taysom Hill got cut. Classic. Get dubbed, Mike. Because he got hurt. He got ruled out right before the game. Cade cut. Justin Herbert deserved. Cam Akers got cut. Probably fine. Yeah, here we go. George picked up Juwan Jennings for 25 fab. I mean, so here's the thing. Nobody else bid on Juwan Jennings, so George overpaid like crazy, which is kind of absurd. But at the same time, I want to roast George so badly for this, but I feel like I should be roasting a third of this league instead. You know, teams like Preston and Lemons. You know, Juwan Jennings is probably lightning in a bottle, but he's been solid, all things considered. He's been borderline flexible, and for as long as Ayuk and or Kittle as long as Debo and or Kittle are out, you can totally play him. And Kittle's probably not going to be back, and Debo might not even be back. Juwan Jennings isn't going to put up 50 points again this year, but he could totally put up 12 points this year, which is way more than some of the guys in your shitty teams, especially Zeke in the flex, Mike. I remember that. There should have been more bids on Juwan Jennings, and even if 25 is high, you know, there should have at least been a couple $5, $10 bids on the dude. Jesus, man. Jaylen Warren got cut. Probably reasonable. I don't know. He's been stinking it up, and I think he got hurt too. Dallas's defense got picked up. Darnell Mooney got picked up. Greg Zuerlein, Miami defense, and Cole Kmet all got picked up. I think there was a bidding war, on Dallas's defense. Brandon got them. Good for him. I think they played the Giants this week. Yeah, nice. Cade thought he could get him for free. No. So, yeah, I mean, that rounds up the transactions. I guess the big talking point was George dropping 25 buckaroos on Juwan Jennings, but I don't know. Maybe 15 was a little more your speed, George. Apparently, you could have gotten him for free, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, my team's good enough that I don't need him, but shout out me.
Flex, yeah.
All right. Last thing we got to do is the matchup previews. So let's peep these quick. I play Cade. Doesn't have a tight end in right now. He's got Cole Kmet that he picked up, so I'm sure he'll get tossed in there. He's been pretty solid lately. Last couple weeks, been all right. He's been getting targets. You're kind of riding with Caleb Williams there, but other than that, I don't know. I think my team is set. The only thing I've really been considering is Dak or Jaden Daniels. Dak plays the Giants, so it'd be really hard to bench Giants because he's fine too. All things considered.
Jaden Daniels plays Arizona, though, to be fair.
He does. Yeah, that's the problem. He's in the dome. It's like, geez. Yeah, I had, to put it this way, I started the week with Dak in my lineup from last week, and then I put Jaden Daniels in, and then I put Dak in, and we'll see what happens by the end of tomorrow, because Dak plays on Thursday, so I'll have to make that decision.
Maybe you have to send Dak my way, so I'll have that Dak CD stack
Yeah, fuck
again.
you, buddy.
Can think of
You can have Mark Andrews if you want him.
Oh, dang. I'll have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. I'll own the Ravens tight ends.
Yeah, congratulations. You own one catch
Monopoly
a
on
week.
them.
Under the market.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only decision I have. Cade's team is really good. I'm afraid of this matchup, especially because Nico Collins plays against Jacksonville, and holy man, can you throw against Jacksonville? So we'll see how
Chris
this goes.
Godwin plays against Philly, and holy mackerel, can you throw against Philly too?
Yeah, no kidding.
Wish the Saints could.
Yeah. Rip their car.
Rip their car.
Oh man. Good stuff there, Jake. Plus, Kenneth Walker might be back, and if he's back, well, I mean, he is Charbonnet and Walker, so whichever one is back is probably in the lineup. I don't know. I'd probably play. Well, Detroit's a tough matchup. If Kenneth Walker plays, maybe you put him in over Cooper. But if Charbonnet is the guy, I totally get playing Cooper. Fair enough. We'll see what happens there. All right. I have myself in this one for legal reasons. Jake, who do you got?
Got Cade.
Nick?
I am gonna roll with Cade on this one, unfortunately, Bryant.
Understandable, in all honesty. All right, let me mark that down. Jake. I'm trying to keep track of these. I totally forgot to tally it up from this past week, so next week we'll have updated numbers.
I will say Cade's projection looked lower than I would have expected for Cade's team right now.
Well, he's missing a tight end.
Yeah, I was even with that. Like if it was 120,
fair enough.
121, or whatever.
I guess.
I think. Feels a little low to me compared to what this team's been doing.
Yeah, nobody's really projected for like 20 plus, even though you know Collins and Barkley are probably going to get there. Even maybe ETN based on what Minnesota did to them. All right, Brandon and Greg. Oh man, Brandon finally going to get that win. Baker Mayfield against Philly, probably a pretty solid start. Like Nick says, you can totally throw on those guys. T. Rice is a dog. Jamar Chase is a dog. Tibbs, Bowers. Okay, Quinn Johnston's been okay and all, Greg, but I hate to see him in a starting lineup. Is there anybody else he can play? No, there's not. Oh shit. Maybe Christian Watson. If Love's active, you could maybe play Christian Watson. But I'd probably play Huge, so I get it. Oh, it's Kansas City. Vision, worst piece. I'll allow it. Brandon side. Deontay Johnson's in. Let's go. Against Cincinnati, too. I picked Carolina to win that game, not going to lie. Yeah, everything else here seems about right. I mean, Brandon's got that problem again where he's trying to figure out who to bench. Zay Flowers is a risky bench, but Buffalo's a good team, so I kind of get it. And if you have Buffalo players, you're probably just praying that it's a competitive game because it seems like every time you have somebody on Buffalo in your lineup, they get like one half of God, and then the rest of it is just, they're on the bench.
I feel like I'd be much more interested in starting Zay Flowers over Achane this week.
Yeah, you might be right. I wouldn't blame you. Granted, it's tough to bench Achane. I think
100%.
Yeah, that's tough. I get it, but you're not wrong. Zay Flowers has been great. They both had bad weeks last week. Both been pretty solid outside of it. Yeah, that horse apiece for me. I'll go either way. Granted, for Flowers, you can just kind of blame a matchup. Granted, he's got a tough matchup again this week. But Achane, you can say with Skylar Thompson, he's going to be unusable, which might be true. I mean, teams can stack the box against Miami probably every week. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So, we'll see. I think
you counter that Gibbs with that Achane.
Jake?
We're talking about Achane, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Achane. What about countering Gibbs? You're awesome, dude. All right, hey, you know what? Sure, they cancel out. Cool. All right, I got Greg in this one, even though Brandon's predicted to kick his ass. What do you guys got?
I'm gonna.
Oh, you can go first, Nick.
I'm gonna take Brandon in this one. Get his first win of the year.
Okay.
I have Greg in this one.
Yo, Brandon, you trash at fantasy.
Hey. Let's go. All right. Let's see. Next matchup, I guess. Manti and George. Another 0-3 team trying to get right here. George, honestly, I kind of like his team. Hopefully A.J. Brown plays for him, though. T. Higgins will be back. Carolina's a great get-back game for him. I know Rashid Shaheed goose last week and all, but I guess you're not playing over any of these guys. But if A.J. Brown's out, you could probably play him. Rome's been good, though. Maybe Rome is this play.
Or Jennings, depending on who's playing for San Francisco.
That too. He's got options. He's got a lot of options.
Yep.
None of them are like screaming, yes, play me, but a lot of them are like, you could totally play this guy.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
Bummer that Ramondre has to be in the lineup, in all honesty. San Fran is not, haven't been what they've been in years past, so maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah, no Hargrave now either.
Yeah.
That'll help a little bit.
Yeah. Rough, man. Got the San Fran defense, though, going up. That'll be fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know, San Fran defense has been struggling a little bit.
He's starting Goddard over McBride. Holy, I didn't even see that.
Say that, yeah.
All right, George, you have to change that, dude. I'm going to make fun of you. Yeah. You're going to get the Greg Jamar Chase treatments next week.
Unless McBride doesn't play.
That's true. Obviously, if McBride doesn't play, that's acceptable. He might not, actually. He didn't practice with concussion.
Reason. Yeah.
You've got a point. I don't know if he will play. Usually not practicing on a Wednesday with a concussion is kind of a death sentence from what I have experienced. But you can do whatever you want on Washington's defense. And that offense, if it's not running through Marvin Harrison, it's running through McBride. So he'd be in my lineup if he plays. Granted, Goddard's been fine. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Brock Purdy, Lamar, yeah. There's an argument to be made for Brock Purdy against New England instead of Lamar versus Buffalo. Really tough to bench Lamar, though. Guess not. I don't know. That's a close one for me. Manti's side of the ball, there's pretty much Zach Moss has to get in the lineup somehow, dude. Get him in for Waddle for sure.
100%.
McLaurin could probably get in there too. But
or Mixon if Mixon plays.
Oh yeah, if Mixon plays, yeah, I'd probably bench Jacobs.
I'd put someone. I might bench Ayuk.
That too. If it's me, this is what I do. Potentially Terry for Ayuk. Potentially that one's a question mark for me. Mixon for Jacobs if he plays, and Moss for Waddle.
Yeah, I agree.
And if Mixon doesn't play, then it's Waddle and Jacobs out, and Ayuk in, because I don't know. Minnesota's been really, really good defensively.
For sure.
Jacobs.
I'm not leaving Ayuk in personally.
Yeah.
He's shown me enough.
Ayuk, I'm okay playing if Kittle and Debo are out again. But if either of those guys are in,
yeah,
probably right. I'd want to bench him. But I totally want to bench Waddle before him.
I agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's man, I hate your starting lineup, turns out. And for those reasons, I'm out. I'm going George.
I'm also taking George.
Yep, make that 3.
Yep. George, if you lose, you're going to be disappointing a lot of people. All right, Jake, you and Lemons. Jordan Love, let's go, baby.
Had to do it.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid lineup. CeeDee Lamb playing against the Giants. If he doesn't perform against the Giants, who is he going to perform against, right?
It's very accurate, yeah.
Is that your guy in the flex? Is that going to stay that way?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about Jaden Reed. Yeah.
Here we go.
We got to figure out who our quarterback is and whether Jaden Reed's playing, and then I'll finalize my lineup. But yeah, for right now, this is the highest projection I think I've had in a while.
Yeah.
Sad.
115, baby. Let's go. Lemon's 95. Yeah, he's not in a good place right now.
This is a great week to play a lot of these names. I'm being cocky here.
You're right though. I mean, well, so Mahomes has been struggling. Is it the Chargers that they always put up big games against? Those are always entertaining games. Like, thought it was them.
Probably.
I don't think the Chargers usually beat them, but I do remember them, being high scoring, fast. Tyreek Hill's, you start him, but you're sad. DK Metcalf. Detroit's been really good on the run. I don't know what they've been doing on the pass. Second most, I see. Yeah, I'd be a little afraid of DK. But everybody else, I mean, Brian Robinson, Rashad White, Strange, Elliott, shit. I would want to get a lot of those guys out. Oh, man.
This is why I said it's a good week to play against a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of players injured right now.
There's nobody for him to play. This is probably his lineup, right? If Mostert plays, you probably put in Mostert for Zeke, but I mean, shit, he's probably not going to do much. I don't know. Maybe you just hope that Zeke falls in the end zone against the Giants. Cross your fingers. 3 carries. Oh, you probably don't do that. Yikes.
I say he can do it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I got you, Jake. You're going 4-0, buddy. Congratulations.
Sweet.
I'm trying to jinx you so hard right now.
Nick, I wasn't going to be allowed on the pod till I got a win this season. This is how bad my team was going to be.
Week 1.
It's a fact.
That's unfortunate. Nick, are we going Jake?
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Jake.
Jake, I assume.
I was just going to say, I think I'm going to be tempted to start Jameson in the flex on a Monday anyway, just so I can be excited about that if I am somehow.
Yeah, there you go.
If I'm down by a couple points, be hyped about Jameson on a Monday night. It sounds fun.
Hyped for that one catch for -7 yards.
No, he'll be back.
He's good for 1 jet sweep a game according to his stats. He's got 1 rushing attempt in each of his 3 games.
Nice.
He didn't.
Not nice in week 3.
Yeah,
not nice.
At least 1 or 2. Hey. So, yeah. Lemons' team is in rough shape right now. It might be the worst team in the league right now with all the injuries.
Yeah.
And even without the injuries, I mean, it'll back.
Brandon Aubrey versus the Giants. That should be a 15-point projection.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Dallas might score enough touchdowns.
Maybe.
You need the Giants to get some stops.
That'll still help me, yeah. See.
All right, last game. Nick, we got you and Lane. Look at that projection. in a point.
Yeah.
All right. Kyler against Washington. Heck yeah, he's going to beat that projection. Drake London against Saints. Pollard. Dalton Kincaid. Malik Neighbors. Yeah, I mean, that's solid. Be on the bench. Okay. Maybe Bucky. Probably not against Philly.
Yeah, I'm considering him against her instead of Pollard, but I like Pollard's matchup against Miami.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you would expect Tennessee to probably be up in that game.
Yeah, and he's been getting so much volume, except for last week. He only had 6 carries. God damn.
Yeah, well, they just
Yeah.
they couldn't do anything last week, and it got out of hand. I'll call that a game script. That's pretty solid. Lane side of the ball, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, Devonta Smith should be back, hopefully. Derrick Henry, can't bench him. He seems to just get in the end zone, and that's kind of about it. I shouldn't say that. He had like 150 yards last week. James
Njoku
Cook.
might be back.
Yeah, that'd be big for Lane because Greg Dulcich had not good.
No.
Tight end landscape. Whether it's Njoku or Evan Ingram, one of those two has to be back for Lane. He did not practice on Wednesday. It'll be a close call. Yikes. Njoku isn't in line to practice Wednesday. Yikes.
Oh.
You better cross your little fingers, Laner, because holy man, if you have to ride with Greg Dulcich, that might just be the death of you. 5 points is very generous.
Yeah.
Oh boy. James Cook, though, go Hopkins, cool. Yeah, that's tough. If Debo plays, you're loving life, but it looks like he's doubtful. Addison plays, I don't know. Taking Nick. Lane's team is too ugly.
I'm also taking
myself as well.
Yep. All right, we're all taking Nick.
Full
Here.
squad took Nick. All right, hey,
Then
that's
you have the wrong Lions receiver for this week and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, not true. Amon-Ra will be fine. Come on, Jake. Yeah, all three of us were aligned in the last 3 matchups. Big. All right, there's only one thing left to do, Jake, and you know what that is. Better get your button ready, buddy.
I'll be ready this time. There we go.
I forgot about that. Oh, man. Get back to last week. All right, Lemons lost. Lemons, you'd be lucky to be Mr. 4th place by the end of the year. Maybe you should take a page out of Preston's book and hand the squad over to Emily.
Boom. Roasted.
Brandon, the only thing nice about your team is the score it put up this week.
Boom. Roasted.
Yo, Brandon, you trash at fantasy.
Hey. All right, just like in the bedroom, Preston's chub is nowhere to be seen. Tough stuff.
Boom. Roasted.
Let's see, George. Oh, yeah, Daddy is back, all right. Back below me in the standings where he belongs, George. Get fucked.
Boom. Roasted.
Last but not least. You know what, Greg? In light of your start-sit blunder this week, I'm going to have to pass this roast over to a dear friend of mine.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, baby.
Love it.
You have to press the button.
I thought that was a good one.
Oh,
Boom. Roasted.
it's tradition.
It's true. I'll lock it in.
Good stuff, good stuff. That's 2 weeks in a row, though.
I didn't want to count that one, but okay, we'll count it. Damn it. I'll be back. I'll be better in week 4.
Yeah,
I'll be better.
that's what CD's been saying.
It's a long season.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. All right, it's been a good show. Nick, thanks for swinging by, man. Always good to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck to everybody this upcoming week, except for Cade, Lemons. He doesn't need that. And Lane. So you guys all stink. Everybody else, good luck. We'll see you next week.